My name is George Farrelly. I'm a GP in Tower Hamlets, and I'm making this video to raise some concerns about the government policy, Choose Your GP Practice. As you know, this is a policy where people can register with a GP not near where they live. And it was rolled out at the beginning of January 2015, about 3 weeks ago. I've had concerns about this policy and a number of aspects to it, but I'm only going to discuss today the problem now, which is that there seems to be inadequate and not reliable cover across England, specifically in London. So I want to show you some slides. So this is an article that appeared in the Daily Mail in November 2013, and it announced that from the next October, that is to say the October 2014, that traditional catchment areas would be abandoned, allowing people to sign up with a GP near their work or near their children's school. Now let me just show you how things worked up until then. So traditionally up until now, the situation has been this. This is where I practice, the Tredegar practice in Bow in Tower Hamlets. So we're in the top, in the northeast corner of it. Now, we have patients who are registered within this boundary, and if they get sick during the daytime and they need to see a doctor, they will phone us. They'll come to one of the surgeries, or they'll see if there's an appointment. We will fit them in, and they will come and we will see them. Now, if they're unable to get to us, we will go to them. Now, with the new system, if say one of our patients were to move even just down here, let's see, that's sort of a couple of miles away, we, under the new system, would not have to visit them. There would be other arrangements to visit the patient. Now, I'll come to that in a moment. That's the worry. Now, here's this is an announcement by the NHS in June 2014. So from October 2014, all GP practices will be able to register patients from outside their traditional practice boundary area without any obligation to provide visits at home. So NHS England will be responsible for arranging in-hours urgent medical care when needed at or near the home for the patients who register with the practice away from home. Now, in fact, the scheme was supposed to roll out in October, but it was in fact postponed by NHS England because they felt that they wanted to have a robust system in place before they rolled it out. So here it says. So in late September 2014, they announced that they weren't going to be able to do it at the beginning of October. They would postpone it until the 5th of January 2015. And they said they want to be completely assured that robust arrangements are in place across the country. Now, this article here is from the 18th of December, where the GPC, that's the GP committee, the BMA, called for further delay to the practice boundary scheme over fears for patient safety. Now, as I said, the scheme was actually rolled out on the 5th of January. So here is NHS Choice's, their current web page about this scheme. Now, so there it is, January the 5th, 2015. Now, you could register near your work or closer to your children's school. Now, in fact, closer to your children's school is a system that just doesn't work. I mean, that's another issue, but it simply does not work. Now, if we go to the further down the page, it says how to register with a GP practice further away. So you join your practice further away from home, but then when you get ill, NHS England is supposed to be ensuring that there is access to a service either near your home or at home if required. So what we were given to understand is that patients would then be able to register with a GP, not so much register, but get services from a GP near their home if they needed it. And they should ring NHS 111. Now, this is wider London, and again, we are over here. Now, if a patient moves from, in fact, we're not participating in this scheme simply because we think it's unsafe. But at the moment, if we were participating, or if a patient were to register, say, in the Isle of Dogs near Canary Wharf, and they actually live over here someplace, if they get sick and are at home, normally speaking, right now they're registered with a GP up here in Harrow, Now, but if they register down here, that means that they're no longer registered up there, so they are uncovered if they get sick at their home. So, because at the moment, before they register, they will be seen by their own GP up here, who will have their notes. Now, the new scheme is that, okay, this person registers down here, lives up here, let's just say he gets a chesty cough, takes to his bed, and rings NHS 111. Now, the worrying thing is this. I've actually phoned NHS 111 and asked them what the cover is for Tower Hamlets. Now, the person I spoke to was unaware of the scheme in the first place. This was about a week ago. And she spoke to her supervisor, who was also unaware of the scheme. And I said, well, what would they do? Well, they say, well, if somebody rang them who needed to be seen, say, on a visit or needed to be seen by a doctor, that they would advise them to go to an urgent care center, walk-in center, or go to accident and emergency. And if they needed a visit, they would have to, presumably, I don't know what they would do, but they didn't have an answer to that. A few days later, I live in Holloway and Islington. I rang the NHS 111 that covers that area. Again, the person I spoke to didn't know and passed me on to the supervisor. The supervisor was unaware of the system. Now, to my mind, what should be in place is that when you ring NHS 111, that you would be, if they deemed that you needed to see a GP within, say, that day, they would have to tell you who to go to see. It would have to be a GP practice that had signed up to this, to take on patients in this manner. Now, I subsequently rung and spoken to NHS 111 that covers for central London, so that's Westminster, Kensington, and so on. And they also, I spoke to the supervisor, he was unaware of this policy, and he didn't have anything extra to provide for the patient in this situation. And he said if somebody needed a visit at home, they'd have to put it out to some sort of SOS doctor service, which is they'd have to pay for that. And what they said is that they would bill the practice that the patient was registered at. So, if the patient was registered over here in Tower Hamlets, which he wouldn't be because very few practices in Tower Hamlets, if any, are participating in the scheme. But if they were registered over here, this practice would get a bill for the cost of SOS doctor. That's what the supervisor told me. Now, I don't know if that's true, but that's what I was told. So my concern about this situation is that there are people who are going to be unprotected. They're going to be registered with a GP not near their home, and they're going to run into trouble because there isn't a robust system in place to meet their needs. I can't understand why this scheme was rolled out given the situation we have in London. Now, it may be parts of the country, parts of England will be no doubt covered adequately, but there are parts that aren't covered. And I think it's only right that this should be in the public domain. I wrote to NHS England about this over a week ago, and I haven't had a response to this question. So I think the government really needs to look at this carefully and make sure it's safe before actually embarking on this policy. There are all sorts of other problems as well, but this is an acute problem right now that needs to be addressed. Otherwise, there may be people at risk.